What's up, handsome individuals? Today we're going to be going over what are ALC settings. So let's hop right into it. I'm not going to be talking about gameplay. If you guys want a separate video on that, I can do that. But we're going to be talking about button layout after we talk about ALC settings. Now, advanced look controls are a custom sensitivity that you can essentially design and create for yourself. Now, obviously we have the normal sense here, high, blah, 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 all the look sense, response curve. Obviously you can do all that completely normal, and a lot of players prefer that. But for me, I really love advanced look controls. It allows me to precisely tune exactly what I want. So we're going to go over what it is. So the dead zone, essentially this allows you to have a finer control over your sensitivity. If you guys are having stick drift, you can always turn this sensitivity meter up. I prefer it as low as I can get it. 5 is a real sweet spot for me. It doesn't move whatsoever, but I still have very good control over everything I do. This controller that I have right now, the AIM controller, which is one of the sponsors, it can actually play on 0% dead zone pretty effectively, and I honestly highly recommend the controller. So if you want to check it out, the link is going to be in the description. But yeah, you guys should definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. I've had this controller for almost 9 months, I think, and I could still play on 0% dead zone. I just, at the end of the day, prefer 5. It just allows me a little bit less, holding down the stick and precisely controlling at every single second of my gameplay. Next up is the outer threshold. A lot of players play with this on 3. I know Ecstasy, if you guys know him, he's a movement goat on controller. He plays on 3. It essentially just allows you to, when you shoot, your control, like your aim just doesn't move really, essentially, which is super nice when you're up close and at a distance, to be honest. I used to play at 1, and 1 essentially just every like you can see, like every time I move my stick at all, it pinpoint accurate. So I used to play on this, and I love playing on it, but things like the wingman and stuff were kind of suffering, like single fire weapons, my high fire rate of weapon, like Flatline, R301, R9, all were really good on this sense, but it's honestly completely up to you. Now, response curve. A lot of people ask me about this. Response curve is essentially the difference between 10, which is classic, and 0, which is linear. Now, the lower values will essentially give you finer control. Now, if you guys are noticing a pattern here, if you turn all of these settings down to 0, you're going to have an extremely sensitive controller. Now, in some players' hands, that's really good, and in some players' hands, that's not great. I used to play on 10, which is classic, and I honestly don't recommend it. It basically aims for you, which, if you're like a 9-to-5 dad who comes home and plays an hour a day, you could probably rock that, and it will probably be helpful for you. But if you want to improve at all in this game, I highly recommend playing on a lower response curve. It's going to allow you a little bit more precise movement with your weapon and your actual movement, because you can spin around faster. You have a lot more precise control over your controller. Now, per optics. Now, I personally don't play with this, but I know a lot of players who do. Essentially, any sight here, so 1x, 2x, 3x, 4, 6, 8, 10, you can basically make it so every single thing in here can be faster. So if you put on the 8x and put it to like 10, it'll be a lot faster. I'm not really going to go super in depth because I feel like this is really basic. It'll just basically allow you to speed up whatever sight you on custom. Now, I like mine very standard and uniform, so that's why I prefer it like this. However, on to the next thing, yaw speed. Now, yaw speed is how quickly you turn left and right. If it's fast, it's going to be fast. That being said, there's a little bit of a variation to that. Turning extra yaw. Now, the lower your yaw speed is, the easier it is for the aim assist to stick, and the easier it is for you to control your hip fire. Now, I recommend a lower yaw speed, but having turning extra yaw a little bit higher. Essentially, turning extra yaw is how fast your stick is going to move after you get it to the far right. So if you see, if I move this stick this way, it's not going to input. But if I turn it all the way, it's going to input, and it'll move really quickly. So I'll kind of show you right here. So if we turn this to, I don't know, let's say 170. You see how slow that moves? But if I turn it really fast, it's going to go really fast. So I'm kind of bad at explaining. I'm trying my best here for you guys. But yeah, I highly recommend this. Play around with it. And at the end of the day, everyone, if you are going to play with ALC settings, you need to tune it to your specific needs. No one's going to be uniform for anyone. It's honestly just practice and time and putting in some work. I honestly just recommend going in the firing range the first 30 minutes. You try out a setting and you're like, okay, this feels good. And then hop in a game and play. But on to the next, we have pitch. how quickly the view looks up and down. Now, obviously, you guys know what that means. I don't have any extra pitch because I feel like it's kind of unnecessary, but if you guys wanted to, you could turn that on. It works the exact same way as yaw. Turning ramp up time is essentially how long it takes for your extra yaw or pitch to reach full strength. So the full strength would be, for example, 130. And if I have it on 10%, you're going to have to move the controller 20% the whatever way you're pulling, and then it will reach full speed of the extra yaw or the extra pitch. Now, this can be really good, but I don't like it because it kind of throws me off. I'm not sure. I never really play with this, and I'm going to do some more testing on it, but right now I don't like it, and I don't recommend it. If you guys want to use my sense, obviously this is my sense that I've been rocking for a while. But yeah. ADS yaw is essentially the same thing as yaw. It's just how quickly you move when you're aimed in left or right. Same with the ADS pitch, and same with the ADS yaw, but this is something that I used to play with it off, and a lot of people said don't play with this on, but I actually really prefer this. So basically, if I move up, it's uniform, right? It's going to be that fast. And if I move left or right, it's going to move that fast. But with turning extra yaw set to 100 in specific, I can actually flick with whatever gun. And I find with aim assist especially, you see how it kind of locks, it slows it down when I'm moving over something? On controller and on console in particular, this is a really, really helpful setting. If you aim here by accident, you can just lock onto that guy and hit a one clip. It feels so good. And at a long distance range with something like the flatline, I find myself hitting a lot more beams. Just a little bit more control over the weapon. It's the same with the ADS turning up, or the ADS turning ramp up and the delay. Now, finally, this is how you turn off aim assist. Now, aim assist is not the most important thing in the world. I think it's really helpful, and honestly, I would never turn it off. But at the end of the day, I think that everyone should have 40% aim assist, and I think 60 aim assist on console is pretty broken. But yeah, I'm really hoping that they nerf it sometime soon, but I doubt it because of the casual player base. That being said, let's finish off with the melee target compensation. This is basically just melee aim assist, and you can actually change your aim assist settings from default to PC, which is 60% to 40%. If you're on console, I just recommend staying on default, to be honest. But yes, that is the ALC controls. If you guys have any more questions in the comments, please let me know. And we're going to finish off with the button layout. Now, my first tip when I coach anyone is please take your control off your circle or your B and put it on your right stick. It's going to allow you to crouch when you're shooting and aiming and performing movement tech while aiming. It's incredibly useful. I don't know why this isn't just based on the game, because circle is just completely, it doesn't make any sense, and a lot of players play on that. Finally, I'm going to be talking about the best controller layout if you do not play either claw, which is something like this. Let me just show you. Claw is essentially something like this. Some people play double claw. I play single claw, but I also have 4 paddles. Now, as I mentioned before, Aim Controller is the sponsor of this video and a huge sponsor on the channel. If you guys want to check them out, please do. You can use my code Ollie. It's going to be on the screen, and you're going to save yourself some money. Now, I recommend the 4 paddle variant. It's incredibly amazing with the digital triggers, I believe. It basically feels like I'm mouse clicking, and it's just really satisfying and good. But if you don't have a paddle controller and you don't play claw, I highly recommend playing on Evolved. Now, Evolved basically takes your X or your A or your X, whatever your jumping button is, and moves it to your L1, which is the left bumper. This allows you really easy movement, and it also binds your crouch to your R3, which is probably the most important thing. So essentially, you can have your hands on the controller at all time without taking them off your movement or your right stick. So I highly recommend this. I know a lot of players play on this now, which is amazing. I'm really happy to hear that. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to drop a like and a comment, and don't forget to check the description below and check out the sponsors. Anyways, I love y'all. I will catch you guys later. If you have anything else you want to see, please let me know, and I will try to get that done for you. Anyways, guys, peace out, and I'll catch you later.